pal. Welcome to the Good Vibes. I'm gonna be reacting to this post from JaWoodle today. It popped up into my recommended. I've watched JaWoodle on and off for a little bit. I usually watch him when I'm feeling in a 7 Days to Die mood because he is a predominantly 7 Days to Die streamer. Um, Streamer, content creator, he makes a lot of 7 Days to Die content. I've been playing 7 Days to Die since it came out in the first couple of alphas, back when it was still using voxel-based terrain generation. I love the game. I played it for countless hours. When I get into the interest of the game, I'll watch him, and then I'll stop and going back and forth. And I stopped watching him for a little bit, and then this just kind of popped up on my recommended, and it's kind of surprised me because he's kind of one of the biggest 7 Days to Die content creators on the platform, and I really enjoyed his content. So I don't know what's going on here. I'm going into this with fresh eyes. If anybody has played 7 Days to Die before, and they even have somewhat of an ear down to that community, they will know that the developers of 7 Days to Die, the Fun Pimps, kind of are... They don't have a very positive track record with their community management. I kind of stayed, at a distance when it came to that. I just want to enjoy my games. I don't want to get into any, community-based drama. But over the years, I think there has been a lot of issues that have propped up between the Fun Pimps as developers and what the community of people that play games that like 7 Days to Die want from the game. I'm not quite sure if this is a evolution of that or if this is something completely different. But we're gonna figure it out. My guesses are going to be that either he said something or he made a video that got under one of the developers' skin for one reason or another, and now they're threatening legal action, which, again, it isn't right. It's a very immature thing to do, but the reason why I'm making that guess is because it isn't the first time kind of an explosion like this seems to have happened. So I'm going to, we're just going to get into it. We're going to see what's going on. We'll see if I'm proven like an idiot and I should shut my mouth or whatever. But join me and we'll see what's going on.
Want to make this video. I was really hoping this would be resolved and would go away without me having to say anything publicly, but now that they have posted about it publicly, I'm left with no choice. So this is going to be a different kind of video, one where I have a script, and I've taken legal advice before making this video because I wanted to ensure that I did not say anything misleading or incorrect and present.
Okay, so immediately this is kind of freaky, right? Because he is on a script and he's gotten legal advice before being on this video. So that's how you can tell this is kind of not even a joke. This is not that most people would see this as a joke to begin with. I don't think JaWoodle would do that, but this is kind of very serious. So yeah, I'm very concerned.
The facts accurately. This is a factual account of what happened, and I will have the receipts to back it up. Okay. And for once in my life, I'm going to try to get through this without making jokes or laughing when I feel uncomfortable, because all of this is uncomfortable.
Yeah,
so
I imagine.
Here we go.
What's going on, man?
For the past month and a bit, I have deliberately avoided discussing this situation because lawyers were involved, private negotiations were taking place, and I genuinely hoped this could be resolved professionally and privately. But now the Fun Pimps have made a public statement to their creator program.
Hey creators, I'm April, head of marketing for 7 Days to Die. During streamer weekend, content was shared outside of the intended version 3.0 release. Creators were informed of what was included in the build ahead of the weekend, and our developer live stream made that clear. We addressed blah 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 blah. Making a game is not an easy path. Blah 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 blah. The vast majority of you get it. You're honored your early access. Blah 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 blah. But this is not a small thing. Okay, so they're saying that he revealed content that they didn't want to reveal yet, as it seems here. All right. Okay, I'm still following.
About what happened. That statement does not name me, but it praises the vast majority of creators for respecting the embargo and protecting something that wasn't yours to reveal yet. They said, creators were informed of what was included in the build ahead of the weekend, and our developer live stream made that clear as well. And then, the vast majority of you got it. you honored your early access, respected the embargo, and protected something that wasn't yours to reveal yet. That claim needs more context.
Okay.
They did not name me, but all of the public discussion of this incident has centered on me as the creator who received and published that material.
Yeah.
My videos were removed, my channel was struck, and
Serious?
I was removed from the creator program.
Holy
Given
shit.
the timing of that statement and the surrounding circumstances, a number of members of that community have understood that statement to refer to me. And that is why I'm responding.
Yeah.
The patch notes were provided only after I had already filmed and completed the videos. They did not identify the build I had received as incorrect until after those videos were posted. At the same time, 3 of my videos have been removed from YouTube following copyright complaints submitted by...
Wow. Chicken coops are coming. 7 days to die. The fun pimp. 7 days bigger than I expected. Wow. Okay.
By the Fun Pimps. My channel has received a copyright strike. The related content has been removed from TikTok, where I also now have a copyright strike. And I have been removed from their creator program.
Jeez.
So now that this is getting out there, I believe an incomplete account of events is now circulating, and people are asking me directly about it. I can no longer remain silent while a version of events is circulated that implies I knowingly took and revealed confidential material and broke embargo.
Okay, so maybe I trust too easily, but after watching JaWoodle for a long time and knowing the love that he has for 7 Days to Die, there's no way he would do that on purpose. People don't just, like, he wouldn't just breach a contract like that and risk his livelihood, you know, the community that he's fostered, the goodwill with the developers of the game that he loves so much. Like, if you even think past the letter A and B here, continuing forward, there is no way that he would, on purpose, shoot himself in the foot like that. So yeah, let's see. This is already ringing kind of weird to me.
That is not what happened. Before I go further, 2 things.
Yeah.
First, I'm sharing this to correct public record, not to direct anyone toward the people involved. And second, I have retained Australian legal counsel since the beginning of this matter. There are parts of the legal correspondence and private negotiations that I will not and cannot publish or discuss in full, but I can defend myself.
Okay.
Explain what happened, why those videos were removed, and why I reject the characterization that this was a deliberate leak. So, here is what actually happened. I was a member of the Fun Pimps creator program. I was accepted into that program in July of 2024 after already covering 7 Days to Die for years.
2 years
This
ago.
is not a game I occasionally covered for easy views. It has been the center of my channel, my career,
As I
my
said.
community.
Yeah.
For a very long time. Ahead of the 3.0 launch, I received access through the official creator system to a build presented to me as 7 Days to Die 3.0.
Let's go back there and read that. You cannot share the password to your friends early. You cannot stream 3.0 early or post any videos until the embargo ends. If the password gets leaked, you will be removed from the creator program. Okay. Interesting.
Official creator system to a build presented to me as 7 Days to Die 3.0. I did not hack anything. I did not receive stolen files. I did not bypass security. I did not obtain the build from another creator or some private or unauthorized source. I downloaded and used a build made available to me through the official creator system. The information accompanying that access did not identify which build number I had received or which build was the correct creator build. There was no indication that I'd been given the wrong build.
You probably have heard pings going off. That's a game I have going on in the background. I'm just going to mute that right quick.
The materials provided to me did not identify in any way that the build contained material outside the scope of permitted creator coverage. It was presented as 3.0 access with creators in the program, including me, encouraged to create 3.0 content. So that is what I did. I understood that the access provided through the creator program was intended for the creation of 3.0 coverage.
Yeah.
And I did not know that the particular build provided was incorrect and contained material outside of the intended scope.
Wait, so this isn't about the 3.0. Wait, this is confusing. So you can and were encouraged to post 3.0 content, but but now they're getting on you for posting specific this is weird.
The build I was given contained 2 certain features, including chicken coops and another feature that were later said to not be intended for publication. And I made videos discussing those features as they appeared in the build provided to me.
Okay.
I was not trying to sabotage the release. I was not trying to spoil some secret announcements. I was using the access for its stated purpose.
Right.
Creating 3.0 coverage.
Right.
When I discussed the first feature in the video, I did not present it as polished or an officially announced feature. I openly questioned whether this feature was unfinished, hidden, or operating somewhere in the back end of the game. It wasn't until after those videos had been produced and the first one published that I was told that I had been given the wrong build and that it contained material that was not intended to be shown.
So JaWoodle was given an alternate build from build 3.0 with content in it that the Fun Pimps did not want published, and he covered that unpublished material. That's a pretty big fuck up. Not on JaWoodle's part, on however he got that build. You know what I mean? In 7 Days to Die, it usually on the main menu shows the build number, like I think in the main on the bottom right or something like that. I haven't played in a couple months, so I'm trying to remember. Interesting. I assume that he just got this build and he made content with it and just rolled with it like he usually does, thinking like nothing was wrong, because why would you think anything is wrong if he has been doing this as his career for a hot minute? And then all of a sudden he got jumped on with all of these, hey, you weren't supposed to release that, hey, why did you cover that? So now it's caused into all this legal trouble, which I don't, like, maybe it's me, but do you really have to take somebody to court over a fucking, like, unfinished chicken coop, like, feature? I don't know. Well, let's continue.
The first removal request arrived about 14 minutes after publication. The video had gone live at the stated embargo time, which was 3.
How did you get access to 3.0 V205? Interesting. The streamer weekend build is 3.0 Beef 252, not 3.0 V205. So he got a different build of a different version of 3.0 than everybody else. So whose fault is that? Content creators aren't in, like, the developmental cycle. They're not part of the development team, okay? They're just going to take what they've been given and run with it, right? How did you get access to 205? What password did you use or build did you have? Okay, so we're going to have to figure out who gave him this build.
3 a.m. Melbourne time, which I had followed, and I was asleep when that message arrived. Notably, this was 3 hours later than my usual upload time, so there can be no doubt that I followed the stated embargo. The Fun Pimps position was that confidentiality obligations arisen under a previous NDA applied to certain material shown in my videos, including material that appeared in the supplied 3.0 build. This was not my understanding, because the later creator program access explicitly permitted 3.0 coverage.
Right.
And there was no clear warning that the build contained any material outside that permission. I have not discussed, and I will not discuss, any material that remains subject to confidentiality obligations. But the important point is that I did not take something that I understood to be prohibited and publish it anyway. When I woke up and learned that the material did not reflect the intended public 3.0 release, I corrected that information.
This is completely, like, off topic. I love that JaWoodle's, like, Discord icon is I forget what character that is from The Simpsons. I love that. I love that a lot.
Material did not reflect the intended public 3.0 release. I corrected that information immediately. I pinned a public correction explaining that the footage had been recorded in an incorrect build that had been made available to me at the time. I clearly told viewers that the chicken coops and the other feature were not included in the public 3.0 release, and I repeated that clarification during my release weekend live streams. I also cancelled the planned Instagram publication of the disputed content that had not yet been released, so the chicken coop contents and the content containing the other feature never appeared on my Instagram. Once I understood there was a problem, I stopped further publication and I corrected the record. Unfortunately, that was not enough to satisfy the Fun Pimps and Behavior.
Yeah.
They demand.
So JaWoodle is a very established YouTube content creator, right? Everything, his YouTube channel is connected into his Instagram, which is connected into his TikTok. It's a networking thing, okay? I have no idea personally how I would even begin to go about connecting all these things. I assume it's a lot easier than one would think, but there's a lot. The point I'm trying to make is there's a lot going on in his head as he's making these videos, and obviously the first like top 5 priorities in his head as he's making this video isn't, oh my god, am I recording some content that I'm not supposed to be recording because he was led to believe that this build that he was given was kosher? You know, it's perfectly fine. Like you don't go through this whole thing and then assume at every point, oh my god, am I doing something wrong? I mean, you're comfortable with the game, right? Like this really, like, he even did the due diligence of mentioning after he figured out that, hey, the included features aren't actually in this build that I was given. It's not in the public build. Which, me being just, you know, a casual player of 7 Days to Die, if I were to be playing the public build and figure out, oh, there's no chicken coops in here, I probably would be like, oh, that's weird. It wouldn't be the end of the world, dude. Like, again, maybe I'm not thinking of this the right way, but it's not that big of a deal. It's a mistake. If this was on purpose, it would be one thing. I mean, do some critical thinking, right?
That I remove or re-edit the videos at my own cost. I was not trying to leave disputed material online while pretending that nothing had happened. I clearly told viewers that those features were not a part of the public 3.0 release and tried to find a practical way to resolve the contents already produced. In the Discord conversation at the time, I also proposed a practical solution. I explained, I used the build I was given access to, it displayed as 3.0, and I made the video in good faith based on the information available at the time.
Okay, so obviously it probably displayed down in the corner or wherever in the main menu 3.0. You know what I mean? I don't fault him for not getting the exact test version of 3.0 right down pat. Like, I don't... Like, I don't know, this is fishy to me.
I also asked if the video could remain live with an immediate pin correction, while Behavior and the Fun Pimps worked out what had happened. And I made clear, I am willing to cooperate, but I am not willing to absorb the full cost of a wrong build issue I did not create without that being recognized. I did not agree to immediately erase or substantially remake several completed videos, as though the entire situation had been caused solely by me. I was an independent creator, I was not their employee, and this was not paid, contracted content produced under an approval process. I had used official creator program access, recorded the build supplied to me, and published in good faith.
Yep.
I had and have no paid content agreements with the Fun Pimps, giving them editorial approval or control over what was published on my channel.
Yeah, so it's like I said before, he's not a developer. It's not even, it would barely even count as kind of like a contracted effort. You know, it's like a developer outreach program that the Fun Pimps had, so that they could, you know, when they give these builds out to YouTube and content creators, it creates more press for the game, which gets them more sales. It's a very easy tactic, okay? You have people who have a social media following, who play your game, and you want that game to reach more people, so you throw out these builds so that they can play the game, they can say, oh my god, this is so great, and then more people buy and play the game. That's how it's supposed to work. It's not supposed to be this whole, like, you know, bureaucratic, like, contractual obligation type beat, you know what I mean? It's just we're just having fun here. It's just a game. Well, you have to be met.
I did not select the build, package it for distribution, or know that it differed from the intended creator version. There is a major difference between deliberately revealing something you know is prohibited and unknowingly recording material in an incorrect build that has been supplied to you through an official source.
Exactly.
In my view, their statement that something wasn't yours to reveal yet leaves out that distinction. Instead, it may give the readers the impression that I had knowledge and intent. It suggests that I knew I possessed restricted material, understood that I was forbidden from showing it, and revealed it anyway. I, again, reject that characterization.
What is with the defensiveness coming from the Fun Pimps marketing team and, like, their PR here? Why the antagonism to one of your largest creators? Why is, in your mind, do you automatically go to, oh my god, he's releasing content that, you know, we never allowed to release, we have to get our legal team on this like immediately, and not just, you know, a community manager reaching out and being like they originally did. They're like, hey, they want you to take this content off, can you, you know, why this sudden rush to defensiveness? I don't understand it.
I had no role in selecting or distributing the build that appeared in my account. Had I been warned that the build was incorrect or contained prohibited material, I would not have recorded those videos. There would have been no sensible reason for me to risk my channel, my professional reputation, and my relationship with the developers of the game that has helped support my career thus far. After the initial requests, the situation escalated rapidly. Once it became clear this was a serious issue, I asked for any formal demand to come from the company legally responsible, rather than continuing through informal messages in Discord. I then received an email from Behavior Interactive, again demanding that the content be removed. In that correspondence, they acknowledged several important points. In their email to me, they wrote, "There appears to have been some ambiguity around build access and versioning. We are not disputing that you received access to a build labeled as 3.0, nor are we suggesting that you intentionally sought out the incorrect build." They further acknowledged that the release notes came only after I had already finalized the videos. While you may have received the release notes after finalizing your videos, you did receive them prior to the official start of Streamer Weekend. And they recognized that what they were asking was not minor. "We understand that removing or editing your videos is not a small request, and we do not dismiss that. But most importantly," they wrote, "while providing access to the incorrect build was our responsibility." So they acknowledged while providing access to the incorrect build was our responsibility. So they acknowledged in writing that providing me with the incorrect build was their responsibility. They still argued that I should have recognized that the material was not intended to be shown, despite me having...
All right, I want to go back to that right quick. We understand that removing or editing your videos is not a small request, and we do not dismiss that. But, at the same time, the public exposure of hidden and unfinished content has a real impact on our team, including our future content plans, player expectations, and the experience we intend to deliver. Blah, 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 our computer and mutual benefit, blah, 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 corporate speak. So basically, they're saying, yeah, we may have fucked up by sending you the build, but you actually should have had the due diligence to realize that we fucked up so that you didn't release the content that we were planning to release later on down the line. Do you see how that is textbook manipulator behavior? I'm not blaming, I'm not saying the Fun Pimps are a team of manipulators or anything like that. I'm not saying that. I'm saying that is a prime, manipulator tactic where it's like, oh, I made a mistake, but the fault is actually on you for not realizing that mistake and stopping, doing whatever made me angry. Okay, that is not a good way to handle yourself as a person, and it's not a good way to handle yourself as a company, in my opinion.
Removing or editing your videos is not a small request, and the correct build was their responsibility. They still argued that I should have recognized that the material was not intended to be shown, despite me having no knowledge of the internal differences between their builds. I do not, and never have, worked for the Fun Pimps or Behavior Interactive. And that is the central disagreement. I still do not know how I received a different build or why that material was included, and they have not given me an explanation for how that happened.
I'm going to throw a guess out there. Human error. Somebody either on the Fun Pimps team or Behavior Interactive, somebody who was in charge of metering out those builds may have had an alternate build on their desktop or whatever, and as they were sitting there, chilling, doing their job, they may have accidentally sent JaWoodle this build that wasn't meant to be sent. So I honestly think that is what happened. Somebody did a boo-boo and sent him a bad build, and now instead of looking inward and saying either oh, we messed up, no problem, it's just a couple features, don't worry, or anything human like that, they immediately go, okay, this is a problem, this is a legal issue, you betrayed our trust, how dare you do this, even though we made a little bit of a mistake, it's actually your fault for doing this. It's kind of disgusting.
But I did not create this situation, because I would be shouldering the entire cost arising from the incorrect build they supplied, with no offer to cover the loss to my business. I stated my reasoning and declined to immediately remove or remake all of the content. In my response at the time, I explained why. I wrote, "I respect that Behavior and the Fun Pimps have full control over what they choose to include in the game, how they release it, and how they communicate future content plans. In the same way, I retain editorial control over my own published content. I do not work for Behavior or the Fun Pimps, and I was not paid or contracted to create this video. This was independent coverage made in good faith from a build I was given access to. If this had been a paid contracted campaign, there would normally be clear terms in place around review, approval, change requests, takedowns, and remedies if something went wrong. That is not the arrangement here. This was unpaid creator access, and no agreement was made that Behavior or the Fun Pimps would have post-publication editorial control over my independent coverage. I also explained that removing the content was not a minor change. As I wrote at the time, removing the affected sections from the long-form video would affect the structure, title, thumbnail, description, viewer expectations, and performance of the upload. Likewise, unpublishing the shorts and TikTok content would place the cost of this issue on me after the fact. I then received...
Okay, so what they're basically doing here is JaWoodle and whoever is representing the Fun Pimps and Behavioral are in this kind of neck-on-neck contact here, where one side is saying, hey, we understand that this is a lot of effort, but get rid of everything that you did on this content. And JaWoodle is coming here and saying, hey, listen, I understand that this is a problem for you guys, but it's kind of on you, and by going through the amount of effort that I'd have to go through to take down all the content on all of my socials is going to hurt my business more than it's probably going to hurt yours. And I believe that. Like, there is a night and day difference between a indie development company who has been working on their game for over 10 years and has, you know, all of the, they have a publisher, they have a legal team and all this stuff versus a YouTuber, a social media content creator. Okay, like it's a night and day difference. Okay, most people I think would understand that in good faith.
A formal legal demand alleging that I had breached NDA obligations and requiring the content to be removed. This was the first formal threat of legal action. A lot of people have also asked why I did not simply take down the videos immediately, and that is a fair question, but by that point, this had become more than just a request to remove the videos.
It's a ban.
Once their legal team became involved, I could no longer just remove the videos and assume that the matter would end. They had
Exactly. So he was getting demands from a legal team, which means this is no longer a casual, good faith conversation between two representatives. This is now basically one person is standing in the back and they have their legal team waiting outside the door, and they're basically saying, hey, you really should take down that stuff, right? Or else. And he's sitting here back like, hey, bro, I'm sorry. I didn't mean to, you know, screw you up. But it's really not that big of a deal, and I don't even, like, work for you on any official basis anyway, so let's solve this amicably and without any splash, so that you don't get any bad press, and I don't get any bad press, and we could just move on from this whole silly situation, right? That's how people normally would deal with this. Unfortunately, it's not how it went.
Had made clear that removal alone would not resolve it, and that further legal or platform action could still follow. From that point, I could not take the videos down without first obtaining legal advice. The demand arrived on a Saturday morning in Australia, which also happened to be my birthday. It had been sent.
Happy birthday, JaWoodle. I hope it was a good one, and I'm sorry this shit's going on around your birthday time. I'm sorry. It's not deserved.
Sent on Friday evening in their local time and required a response by Monday afternoon in North America. That left me with less than one full business day to find Australian legal representation and review their demands.
So they even sent him demands, and they didn't even try and go through the mathematics of trying to determine, you know, when they sent these demands, when it would arrive to him, given his time zone, and they did it in a very short span of time. This is not unheard of. A lot of legal teams, especially when they're going after other entities that don't have as like verbose and expert legal like representation, they will just throw the shortest date out there. And hope that you will make mistakes scrambling to try and fight it, that they will obviously come out top. It's a rigged game. It's a rigged battle.
I requested an extension until the following Friday. So
I'm sorry I keep leaving my mouse in the middle here. I like to use it to point to some things when I can, but I know people freak out about that, so I'm going to try and move it off to the side as much as I can.
That I would have time to find appropriate counsel. That full extension was declined and I was given until Wednesday. I urgently contacted several Australian law firms over the weekend and eventually retained lawyers to represent me. From that point onward, I stopped trying to handle the dispute personally and allowed the lawyers to communicate.
As you should. I don't know if this will come out by the time I did my Reckless Ben React video, but yeah, by the time that you are getting, like, even a hint from an official entity like the Fun Pimps and Behavioral, for example, that they may be proceeding with legal action against you, that is when you shut up and you go get a legal team. Because JaWoodle is not a lawyer, and doubly so, he doesn't live in the United States, so he's probably not that privy to how this would work in regards to U.S. law. So yeah, that's the smart thing to do. However, what the Fun Pimps legal team probably did was they probably sat back and they're like, oh shit, this guy has a legal team now. Oh shit, now we have to actually like go through the effort of making this a whole ordeal, you know? And that will kind of create, just by the pure notion of him actually trying to go to bat for himself and defend himself, will create further animosity from probably the Fun Pimps and their legal team. You know what I mean? And this is me doing a lot of like judgmental guessing on the Fun Pimps, but I don't really think it's unfounded given their past record of dealing with their community.
On the 25th of June, my lawyers sent a formal response to Behaviour Interactive and the Fun Pimps, explaining my position and attempting to resolve the matter. Behaviour Interactive's legal counsel then informed my lawyers that their clients maintained their position and intended to pursue the legal remedies available to them. Ultimately, and unfortunately, despite my genuine attempts to resolve the matter by compromise, no agreement was reached.
Primarily, this is all happening over, and it's not just the chicken coop, but primarily this is because of the fucking chicken coop and like probably some other minor features, right? What is the plan here? Do they want to get money out of him? I don't think so, because JaWoodle isn't going to have enough like assets and gross capital to be able to fund the Fun Pimps, continued development of this. And I'm not going to go that far and be that conspiratorial about it. I think this was just knee-jerk reaction. There was not any thinking to this. It was a panic. And then went to their lawyers, and the lawyers, their legal team isn't going to sit there and be like, well, are you sure this is the right idea? They're just going to take the case. They're just going to take it and they're going to go after this guy. It's how legal teams work.
I was not willing to accept a public version of events. That said, I had knowingly leaked material that I understood was prohibited. That is not what occurred.
That isn't what occurred. They're trying to frame this as a way that he negligently released this content, being aware that it was unfinished. Which, again, anybody who knows JaWoodle at all, or this situation at all, can easily ascertain that was not the case.
I hold myself with integrity and honorable actions, and I was concerned that the public impression being created was that I had deliberately done something wrong. Protecting my reputation is important to me. Around the same time, I was removed from the Fun Pimps Creator Program and its Discord. I received an automated lurker email saying my application had been declined, despite having been accepted into and participating in the program 2 years earlier in July 2024. The Fun Pimps then submitted copyright takedown requests in relation to 3 of my YouTube videos. Those videos were removed and my channel received a copyright strike. They did not simply remove the particular sections they disputed, they took down the videos wholesale. A copyright strike.
Yeah, so this is what we know as going on the warpath. They have received the notice from JaWoodle's lawyers that he is going to defend himself, so now they're going to do everything in their power to try and fix this on their end, which is forcing him to take down his content and pushing out copyright strikes. This is how the Streisand effect happens. This is how I get wind of this, and now I'm going to put a video out. And now other people who are around this are going to record themselves, and they're going to put this video out. And now the reputation of the Fun Pimps and Behavioral is probably going to be up shit's creek. Whether you think that's deserved or not, I'm not going to lay judgment on that. I'm just going to say probably would have been better to just settle this like normal people.
Strike places the wider channel at risk, and further strikes could have severe consequences for the entire channel. And
so this is probably also, I'm sorry I keep pausing, I just want to get my words out. This is also probably why he hasn't made 7 Days to Die content in a little bit. He's dropped it. Like, he's probably going to drop it. If this was me, if I was JaWoodle right now, I would be dropping that game like a hot potato. I wouldn't be playing it. I wouldn't be looking at it. I would be like, it's not because I hate the game now. It's because I would be too afraid of even making any coverage of it now that he's in this whole legal debacle with the Fun Pimps and Behavioral. It's very sad. It's very unfortunate.
And this channel is my livelihood. It supports my business, my staff, and the community that I've spent years building. It is our home for everything from entertainment to our charity work. The public removal pages identified the Fun Pimps as the party making the copyright complaints. Viewers could see what had happened and people naturally began asking questions. Even then, I did not immediately make a public response. I did not comment beyond saying that I was aware of the takedowns and that it was being handled through the proper channels.
So this is funny, right? The Streisand effect was already in full effect before JaWoodle even mentioned this. Before this video even came out, people started seeing what was going on with these copyright strikes and started to get a little keen idea. This is why you don't abuse the legal system for small, frivolous events like this. Because people with empathy and a way of determining escalation can see this and basically say, wow, that's kind of fucked. Why are they being so immature? Because that kind of what it amounts to. It amounts to immaturity that's funneled through a frivolous usage of weaponizing the legal system, which we see more and more nowadays.
I did not make videos attacking the Fun Pimps. I did not tell my audience to go after anyone. I did not publish private legal correspondence. I continued to try to deal with the matter through my lawyers and the proper channels. But after weeks of me staying quiet, the company released a public statement that, in my view, framed the situation in a way that implied that I knowingly broke the embargo and revealed something I understood was secret. That statement creates the impression that I knew that material was restricted, that I knew I was forbidden from showing it and chose to reveal it anyway. It also suggests that I failed to respect the embargo. I did respect the embargo. The video went live at the stated time. This was not a creator knowingly entrusted with a secret and choosing to betray that trust for views. I published openly under my own name. When I was told that the build was wrong, I corrected the information and stopped further publication. That is not the behavior of somebody trying to secretly distribute stolen material.
Right.
People can disagree with my refusal to immediately delete every completed video. I understand why the developer wanted that material removed, but that
people who have a problem with him refusing to take down and edit his videos don't understand just how much effort, like physical effort, goes into recording, editing, trimming, publishing, networking. I mean, yeah, doing YouTube and online content isn't the same as being a construction worker, no duh, but it still takes a measure of effort, and it's like you're throwing away so much effort for not even a guarantee that he would not have legal action taken against him. More of like a demand and a threat. A demand and a threat isn't a guarantee. You know, if the Fun Pimps and Behavioral wanted to go this way, they would start, drafting contracts or something that'd be like, hey, this is a guarantee that if you take down your videos, we're not going to pursue legal action against you, or something like that. I don't know how all these legal avenues work. I'm not a lawyer, and I don't really care to think of it. I care to think of things more realistically, and not like in a way of bureaucratic red tape that isn't held within a realm of reality.
Later, disagreement does not turn the original publication into a deliberate breach. Seeking legal advice and attempting to resolve the dispute privately was not an admission of wrongdoing. Independent creators do not have legal departments, and disputes like this create significant financial and professional risk. At every stage, I have been responding to actions taken against me. I did not initiate legal proceedings, issue takedowns, or make the dispute public. I was left with a choice: accept demands from a company that I was not employed by and had no paid content or editorial approval agreement with, or seek legal advice and defend myself and my business. And I chose to defend myself.
As
Attempts were made to resolve it. No agreement was reached. The copyright takedowns followed. I dispute those copyright takedowns. I am receiving legal advice about those actions, and I am not going to argue an entire legal case in a YouTube video.
Of course.
I've spent years covering 7 Days to Die. I've promoted updates, showcased features, brought players into the game, and built a large part of my career around this community.
It's really sad because you can tell that he is struggling right now emotionally. He's, rubbing his eyes, he's looking off, to the side, and as he's going into this camera, he looks so defeated. It looks like he looks betrayed. It's obviously, yeah, like I wouldn't be surprised if this made him emotional and made him cry at some point. Not to say that that's bad. No, I would be fucking sobbing like a bitch if I was in JaWoodle's case and this happened to me. You know, this would come off to me as a gross betrayal of my effort to not only enjoy the game that you've created, but try and signal boost it. You know, like
the Fun Pimps can manage its creator program and protect genuinely confidential material, but once they publicly implied that I knowingly revealed something entrusted to me as a secret, I had to correct that implication. This dispute has affected my sleep. I've lost almost 6 kilograms during it, and I've struggled to work without fearing the next email or the next platform notice.
Yeah, this is very stressful.
The correct build had been supplied to me. I wish that this could have been resolved privately. It was not. So about my future in this space, for now, I still enjoy 7 Days to Die, and I still love making videos that you enjoy watching. All your kind comments over the years go into a folder called the Rainy Day folder, where I can go and remind myself of the positive impact you guys have told me I have from doing this. That folder has not closed for a month. I will continue creating content I believe is best for my channel and the community, whether that is 7 days or otherwise. But I will not participate in future early access update weekends without clear, professional, and contracted agreements that properly define the build, the permitted content, and the review process. I cannot put myself or my business in this position again. I'm not holding a grudge. I'm not saying I would never work with them again, but the current copyright strikes would need to be properly addressed first. I will continue following my lawyer's advice and handling any next steps through the appropriate processes. And for now, annoyingly, I'm left with unanswered questions, thousands of dollars in legal fees, an ulcer from constantly chewing my lip in my sleep, and a very uncertain future in content creation. Thank you for listening. I'm sorry I had to make a video with all of this, but it was important to me to make sure that the record was set straight and my reputation was not damaged further by an incomplete version of events. I wanted to finish this with a joke. I never want you to leave a JaWoodle video with a bitter taste in your mouth. I want these videos to make you smile, but honestly, I'm just tired.
You don't need to come up with a joke, you know, to keep on brand or anything. This is a serious situation, and anybody who has watched your content for any amount of time, whether it's just like a week or a long form or whatever, can understand what you're going through right now. Like, I wouldn't worry about your own community and fan base taking this the wrong way. Like, I'm pretty sure anybody who has half a brain and higher than a room temperature IQ would be able to see what this is and have your back on it.
One person up against a much bigger company using legal and platform processes against me over material they have acknowledged responsibility for supplying. I'm just
tired.
I'm just tired.
There it is.
Let's hope I never have to do this again. Cheers.
Okay. Let's talk for a minute before I end this. I'm probably not going to throw a bunch of funny edits up here like I normally would. Maybe I'll do one or two, you know, if I go through the video editing process and think something would be particularly funny. I'm obviously going to put up the Good Vibes logo and everything at the end, but I think everybody understands what this is. You know, again, like I said, it's a frivolous attempt at weaponizing the system of law to go after a content creator. I think the Fun Pimps are in the wrong here. I think their legal team is in the wrong here. I think a lot of people share that. It's just a shitty situation all around because it didn't need to happen. This didn't need to happen. You know, you're putting a wedge into your own like finances and operation as a development team. You're dragging your own reputation through the mud. You're harming a content creator that all they want to do is signal boost your creation. It was just a stupid mistake. What I would be doing is I would try and figure out who distributed the wrong version and figure out how that happened. I'm not even saying fire them or punish them or anything like that. I'm just trying to say track down how this happened so that you can have better, I don't know if the term is information security in the first place, right? Unfortunately now JaWoodle is, he's basically like I hate to compare it to his, but it's like a kicked dog, right? Like he made a misstep through no fault of his own, and now he's being whipped with the legal system. And now, if he ever were to do 7 Days to Die content going forward, it would be beholden to a very stringent quality control process, just to maximize the chances that he doesn't get in the situation again. But honestly, I wouldn't. I wouldn't for years. Like I wouldn't touch this game for years. I mean, this is obviously ridiculous. This is absolutely ridiculous. It actually kind of pisses me off because this happens kind of all the time in the video game sphere with people covering content and stuff like that. It's just not worth going through all the effort to do this. Like, I can't imagine how much it's probably costing the fun Pimps and Behavioral. Not that it would probably be that big of a dent in their wallet, but it is still spending money to go after JaWoodle for what? What do you think is going to come out of this? Like, do you think this is going to make this never happen again? Do you think that this is, you're just shoring up your own, like, I don't I cannot fathom the thought process that they could have gone through to think, okay, yeah, this is definitely a good idea. We should definitely be doing this. This is just a shitty situation all around. So my heart goes out to JaWoodle. I'm obviously still going to be watching his content. I think he's been doing some Palworld content because Palworld just released their 1.0 update. So yeah, that's how you kill your community. Yeah. I'm just so sorry to JaWoodle. He doesn't deserve this. The stress and the anxiety that this is having on him is probably cataclysmic, and it's something that is completely undeserved. So I figured I'd signal boost it. I figured I'd make a reaction video commenting about it. Obviously, throw this down, throw something down in the comments below. Let me know what you think. Call me an idiot. Say that, if you think I'm right, say so I don't feel like an idiot. And obviously, jump over to JaWoodle, give him a like, give him a subscribe, watch his videos fully so that algorithm can kick in. He's just a good dude that likes playing video games, and I can respect that because I am also a dude that just likes playing video games, okay? It really doesn't have to be that complicated. So yeah, sorry that the vibes weren't that great in this video. I want this to get some traction. I don't want to leave my boy hanging. I've been watching him for a while. And he deserves to get through this so we can go on to the next step of his content creation career and figure out, what's next. So yeah, I have been King Doggo. This has been Good Vibes Reacts with King Doggo, and I will see you all in the next one. Peace.